Let's do Leetcode 1920, build array from permutation. Now, don't be intimidated by the name permutation in the problem. It's actually a very easy problem. So let me explain. So basically, we're given an array of integers. They call nums, like 0, 2, 1, 5, 3, 4. And you're basically asked to create a whole new array whose element is basically this array ans, which stands for answer. Basically, the element at position I is basically you take the whatever nums that I is and use that as the index for accessing nums at that position, and then use that as the value for answer. So it's kind of a bit weird. So for example, the first one, if your I is there, you're gonna take basically the I, which is 0, to traverse, you're traversing an array, so you need an index I. And you're gonna say nums at 0, which is basically the 0 there. And then we're gonna use that for access nums itself again, and which gives you, in this case, 0. So you're gonna put that 0 here. And then the next one, as your I increments, you're gonna do the same thing. Okay, what's I? Y is 1. If I do nums at I is 2, and then you do nums at 2, which should give you 0, 1, 2, this number there, and that's what you put as the I here in the new array. It's like a bit weird. It's like you're calling it's the index of the element at the index of the element of the index, and that would be the new value for the other array. So let's get to it. So I'm gonna use Java, and it's really no question here. So you first of all, you're gonna need to create a new array that they call answer. So in Java, we can do, let's call it array of int answer equals new int. And it's basically the same length as nums. So you can say num.length there. So this is the allocating memory for an array in Java. If you're using JavaScript, you could just say uh, a new array or with the number of elements. Okay, and then we're gonna traverse nums. So I'm gonna use a for loop. And then after that, we're gonna return ends, which should be the reference to the array of ints that will have been populated with the values. For the for loop, I'm gonna create int I equals 0. That's the variable to make index. And every iteration will be like I equals 0, and then I equals 1, all the way to I equals n minus 1, where n is the number of elements in nums. So the condition would be while I is less than the nums dot length. Since we're using Java in a primitive type, we can just say dot length all lowercase. And then semicolon, third condition is just the increment because I don't want to have an infinite loop. So I would have, after the end of the iteration, it would increase. Okay, so now that we're here, let's do this crazy thing. Basically, you're going to copy this part here, basically as it is. You see there? So we're going to take I, and then we're going to use that to reference nums at I. And then we're going to take that itself and reference at nums. If you find it very confusing, you can always separate this into separate variables. You can do like int, I don't know, index like that, and you can put it here like that. And you can say assign that value to the answer at the I, something like that. Okay, so you can do that. But if you don't want to do that, you can just directly put it here. All right, and it's basically what it's doing. So answer at I would have been assigned to that. So you see the task cases here. See, these are the integers, and here's the output, which matches the expected. So basically, at the first one, you're going to take nums at I, which is nums at 0, which is 0 itself, and then use that. Nums at 0 itself is 0, so you put it there. For the second one, I is 1. So nums at 1 would be 2 itself, and then nums at 2 would have been the 1 there, so you put it as a second position there for the output. And then when I is 0, 1, 2, You're gonna take nums at 2, which is this 1, and then nums at 1 would have been this 2, right? And then we place that at the third position, and so on. So I recommend you just step by step and don't skip to understand what's going on if you find yourself having trouble with this. But yeah, so from the name, it seems very hard question, but it's actually very easy. For the time complexity of this, since we have to traverse any elements of the array nums, it's O of n. For the space complexity, because I created a new array of the same number of elements as n nums, which is n, it's O of n for space complexity. Hey, thank you for watching. If you like this content, please consider making a donation so I can keep doing this for you. I'd really appreciate that if you could donate. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.